I've filed for divorce. I'm taking the house and the car. I know it's going to be tough, but you'll need to hang in there. I don't know how much time you have left, but I hope you can push through. It may sound like I'm being kind, but the truth is, my words were as sharp as a knife. His smile in that moment hurt more than anything else. How could he do this to me? Abandon me when I'm at my lowest? Weren't we supposed to face our challenges together? I can't stop crying from the shock of his callousness. Forgiving him is impossible. I'm determined to make him feel my pain, even if my own body is on the brink of collapse. I won't stop. This resolve marks the beginning of my new path, a quest for revenge. My name is Anna. At 45, I've dedicated my life to caring for my family as a devoted housewife. I used to savor each day with my husband Tom, just like we did in the early days. We met through a friend's introduction. Tom has always been the life of the party, effortlessly connecting with everyone. In the beginning, when I felt a bit nervous, his warm smile reassured me, and I quickly opened up. Our time together was as sweet and colorful as candies, so enchanting that I'd lose track of the hours. I genuinely longed for even more moments with him, and perhaps he felt the same, cherishing our time together. It's hard to fathom now, but our love was once so profound that we promised to marry. Living with him felt like a dream come true. Each day sparkled with joy, and I believed we would always share smiles and happiness in the future. As time passed, Tom began to change. It seemed like the stress from his job was wearing him down. To be honest, his salary isn't particularly high. He didn't pursue any specialized qualifications in school and doesn't have a strong academic background, which has limited his career options. I've suggested exploring new job opportunities a few times, but he always responds with a hesitant, "I'm good for now." While I'm working full-time and we're managing financially, I can't help but worry about the future. What if we decide to have a child? Or if I fall ill and can't work? To ease my anxiety, I made a suggestion. "Tom, my company is short-staffed in administration. You don't need any special qualifications, just the basics. Are you interested?" I had recently learned about an administrative opening from a friend in HR and thought it might be a good fit for him, perhaps even a chance to improve his difficult job situation. However, his reaction was unexpectedly cold. "Why are you making decisions about my job without consulting me? I chose this job myself. Are you implying there's something wrong with it?" I was taken aback. I had only made a suggestion with his future in mind. Why was he so upset? "I'm sorry if my suggestion upset you. I just noticed that your current job conditions seem quite challenging. I thought this opportunity might offer a better situation for you." I genuinely made the suggestion because I cared about him, but it didn't seem to be received that way. "Just because you're my wife doesn't mean you can interfere in my career decisions like you're a stranger. I have my own ideas, you know." As he walked away, I whispered to myself, "A stranger." That word struck a deep chord. I am his wife, part of his family, yet his words and attitude felt anything but familial. It felt as if a growing rift was widening between us, and it was happening all too quickly. Tom had also been difficult with my family. My mother is genuinely kind-hearted. Whenever I was away from home for work, she would regularly come over to clean and prepare delicious meals, leaving them in the fridge for us. It was her way of checking in, of showing she cared. I was always grateful and often invited her to join us for dinner. Lately, though, Tom seemed increasingly irritated with her. When he came home and found her in the living room, he would snap, "You're here again." Both my mother and I were taken aback by his harshness. It made me question my relationship with Tom and our future. How could we bridge the growing rift between us? My mother, with a gentle smile, said, "It's all right, Anna. If my presence is making you uncomfortable at home, I apologize. I'll leave earlier today." Her words cut deeply, especially knowing how much she had sacrificed to help us despite her own busy schedule. "Wait a minute, Tom. Consider how Mom feels. She's always been there for us, showing us care and support. Please show her some respect." As tears filled my eyes, the atmosphere in the room shifted. I couldn't understand why Tom would speak to her like that, especially when I remembered all the times my mother had brought warmth and joy into our home. When I come home after working hard all day, I just want to unwind. It's exhausting to have someone else around constantly in my own space. Can't you understand that? I tried to see things from Tom's perspective, but my gratitude towards my mother made it hard to let go. I didn't believe I was in the wrong. It seemed like Tom was being increasingly stubborn, and I struggled to express my feelings in a way he'd comprehend. My mother said softly, "Don't worry about it. If everyone's happy, that's what matters to me," and offered me a comforting smile. Her warm words filled me with profound guilt. That night, as I enjoyed the delicious meal she had prepared, I was overwhelmed with a mix of appreciation and remorse. Honestly, Tom was on my mind constantly. I spent countless nights pondering how to improve our relationship, but a much bigger challenge was on the horizon. At work one day, I suddenly felt dizzy and collapsed. Thankfully, my colleagues acted quickly, calling an ambulance that rushed me to a major hospital. The medical tests felt like a blur as they began. I tried to reach Tom, but he didn't answer. Then came the diagnosis: cancer. Fortunately, it was caught early, and with the right treatment, I was told I would be okay. Still, knowing that cancer treatments could be grueling, I prepared myself for the long and difficult road ahead. I told Tom about my cancer diagnosis and hospitalization, but his reaction was nonchalant, leaving me feeling isolated. Despite his indifference, I resolved to concentrate on my treatment, convinced that moving forward was the only path. The treatment was far more challenging than I had anticipated, and my health declined swiftly, forcing me to remain in bed for most of the time. Then, one day, in the midst of this struggle, Tom unexpectedly showed up in my hospital room. "How are you feeling?" he asked, his tone casual. "It's been pretty rough," I replied with a hint of sarcasm. "It might have been a bit easier if you had been here." Honestly, I was frustrated by his lack of urgency. Why hadn't he come sooner? His support could have meant so much during these difficult times. Instead of feeling relieved at our reunion, I felt a wave of irritation as I thought about our past. Then, what he said next left me completely shocked. "I filed for divorce. I'm taking the house and the car. I know it's tough, but you'll have to hang in there. I'm not sure how much time you have left, but I hope you keep fighting." "Wait, are you serious?" I exclaimed. "Divorce?" A storm of questions swirled inside me. Didn't we promise to stick together through thick and thin? I always believed that true couples face challenges side by side. Tom's words left me bewildered, and my feelings for him began to fade. I realized I no longer needed him. I would move forward on my own. I'll just forget about him, I whispered to myself. I resolved that he would regret underestimating me. But first, I needed to end our relationship properly. "I understand. I'm sorry for everything. Keep the house, the car, whatever you want. If you need compensation money, I'll provide it. Thanks for everything," I said. Tom looked taken aback initially, but quickly donned a smug smile. "I didn't expect you to accept so easily. I thought you put up more of a fight. Anyway, take care of yourself, and don't bother inviting me to your funeral." As I watched him walk out of the room, I couldn't help but smile. He doesn't realize he's fallen right into my trap. It will be fascinating to see how his life unfolds from here. I reached out to a former colleague from a company I knew. "Hello, it's been a while. I need a favor. Can you help me out?" He seemed surprised at first, but after I explained the situation, he agreed. "Sure, let's give it a try." Everything was in place. The thought of Tom's shocked and anxious reaction made me smile. This new excitement even gave me a boost for my medical treatment. A few days later, after one of my treatments, I noticed that Tom had called me 200 times. The anticipation of his reaction was oddly thrilling. Once I settled down, I called him back and heard his voice trembling on the other end. "Anna, please help me. I never expected this," he pleaded. The sound of his distressed voice made me chuckle to myself. This was precisely the outcome I had planned. On the phone, I feigned concern, trying to sound empathetic amidst his frantic background noise. "Tom, what's going on?" I asked. He took a deep breath and said, "My name's on the company's layoff list. I can't believe this is happening." As I listened to him, I couldn't help but smirk. Everything was unfolding just as I had planned. The person I had contacted was the head of sales at my company. I had requested him to review the business dealings with Tom's company. Initially, he was puzzled, but after reviewing the transaction history, he decided it was better to pursue a different partner. That's why Tom's company had begun reaching out to me. It was time to reveal something I had kept to myself. "You know the rumors circulating about you and the new girl at your company? Everyone seems to like her because she's so cheerful, but there are whispers about an affair. Is that true?" I could hear the disbelief in Tom's voice. "Are you serious? This has to be some kind of joke." His reaction was understandable. After all, who would expect an ordinary employee to have any influence over his work? Surprised. "Well, I'm actually the CEO of this company." There was a moment of silence as I could sense Tom was at a loss for words. It's no lie. This is how we've been living so comfortably. My annual income is around $1 million. Your regular salary wouldn't have been enough to keep up with your shopping habits, would it? The truth is, Tom's spending habits are out of control. The $1,400 allowance he gets from me is essentially like a second salary. Yet whenever he runs out of money, he sweetly asks, "Can I have a little more?" At this rate, the money he receives from me might end up surpassing his actual salary. Most people might have abandoned such a luxurious lifestyle with him and sought a more stable life. But since I earn $1 million a year, giving Tom a $1,400 allowance each month isn't a significant expense for me. I've always been curious about what he spends that money on. Tom, yesterday was payday, wasn't it? I've always given you extra money on payday, but that might change now. We're not a couple anymore, so it's only natural that the monthly allowance will end with our divorce. I was seething, lost in thoughts about our past. Then, what he said next truly stunned me. "I filed for divorce. I'm taking the house and the car. I know it's hard, but hang in there. I'm not sure how much time you have left, but I hope you keep fighting." "Wait, are you serious?" I exclaimed. "Divorce?" A storm of questions erupted in my mind. Hadn't we promised to always stay together? I had always believed that true couples face challenges together. Tom's words left me bewildered, and I could feel my feelings for him beginning to fade. "I don't need him anymore. I'll move on by myself. I'll just forget about him," I whispered to myself. I resolved that he would regret underestimating me, but first, I needed to finalize our separation properly. "I understand. I'm sorry for everything. Keep the house, the car, whatever you want. If you need compensation money, I'll provide it. Thanks for everything," Tom said. At first, he seemed surprised, but his expression quickly shifted to a smug smile. "I didn't expect you to accept so easily. I thought you'd cause a scene. Anyway, take care of yourself, and don't bother inviting me to your funeral." As I watched him walk out of the room, I couldn't suppress my smile. He had no idea he had walked straight into my trap. I was curious to see how his life would unravel from here. I called a colleague from a company I knew. "Hello, it's been a while. I need a favor. Can you help me out?" He sounded surprised at first, but after I explained the situation, he agreed. "Sure, let's give it a shot." Everything was set. Just thinking about Tom's shocked and anxious reaction made me smirk. This new sense of excitement even gave me a boost for my medical treatment. A few days later, after my treatment, I noticed my cell phone had accumulated 200 missed calls from Tom. The anticipation of his call was almost exhilarating. Once I regained my composure, I called him back and heard his trembling voice. "Anna, help me. I never expected this. Please." His distressed tone made me smile to myself. This was precisely what I had planned. With his frantic voice in the background, I feigned concern as I responded. "Tom, what happened?" He took a deep breath and said, "My name's on the company's layoff list. I can't believe this is happening." Hearing his words, I couldn't help but smirk, knowing that everything was unfolding according to my plan. The person I had contacted was the head of sales at our company. I had asked him to review the business dealings with Tom's company. Initially, he was puzzled, but after examining the transaction history, he concluded it was better to choose a different partner. That's why Tom's company had been reaching out to me. That was the moment I decided to reveal something I had kept to myself. "You know, there are rumors circulating at your company about you and the new girl. Everyone seems to like her because she's so cheerful, but there are whispers about an affair. Is there any truth to that?" I could hear the disbelief in Tom's voice. "Are you serious? This can't be real. It must be some kind of joke." His surprise was understandable. After all, who would expect an ordinary employee to have any influence on his professional life? Surprised? Well, I should let you know that I'm actually the CEO of this company. There was a pause, and I could sense that Tom was speechless on the other end. "I'm not joking. This is how we've managed to live so comfortably. My annual income is around $1 million. Your regular salary alone wouldn't have covered your shopping habits, would it?" The truth is, Tom's spending was completely out of control. The $1,400 allowance I gave him was practically like a second paycheck. Yet every time he ran out, he'd come to me with a sweet, pleading tone, asking, "Can I have a little more?" At this rate, the money he received from me was becoming more than his actual salary. Most people might have abandoned the luxurious lifestyle and sought something more stable, but with my $1 million annual income, giving Tom a $1,400 allowance each month wasn't a significant burden. Still, I'd often wondered how he spent all that money. Tom, wasn't yesterday payday? I've always given you extra money on payday, but that's going to change now. We're not a couple anymore, so you can't expect that monthly allowance after our divorce. I couldn't help but wonder how he'd manage on his own from now on. Be mindful of the mortgage on the house. It's $2,000 a month. I know it will be challenging, but you need to manage it carefully. If you fall behind on payments, you could end up losing the house. While a $2,000 mortgage isn't a problem for me, it's a hefty amount for Tom. His reaction was one of utter disbelief. He kept repeating, "Really? And that's crazy." What I said was the reality of the situation. This is the outcome of all the effort I put into preserving our relationship. Yet Tom took advantage of me and focused solely on his own desires while I was by his side. Maybe now it's time for him to face the repercussions of his choices. Why did it have to come to this? I've been laid off, and now I'm scrambling to figure out how to make ends meet. How am I going to pay the rent this month? His voice was filled with despair, clearly overwhelmed and uncertain about his next steps. If I were in his shoes, envisioning a brighter future would be nearly impossible. It must be a bewildering and stressful situation, but this is the result of his own past behavior. Had he shown genuine respect and care for me and my family, we wouldn't be in this predicament. The troubles he's facing are a direct consequence of his own choices. Tom stayed silent, perhaps at a loss for words. I felt a mix of pity and satisfaction. Is that all? Can I hang up now? Suddenly, his voice took on a desperate tone. Wait, can we reconsider our relationship one more time? I know this might sound selfish, but I've come to realize just how important you were to me. The thought of starting over with him made my heart race. After all the pain he had caused, the idea of going back felt overwhelming. He took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. I know I've been reckless lately, and I'm truly sorry I couldn't visit you more in the hospital. Once you're better, I'd like us to go somewhere peaceful and have a relaxing time together. I want to see your smile again. His words stirred up a wave of nostalgia, reminding me of what he said the day he proposed. If we're together, every day will be filled with laughter. Let's get married and build a happy future together. At the time, I was swept away by his promises and dove headfirst into our life together without much thought. But married life was far from easy, burdened by his reckless spending. I often wondered if understanding him better might have led to different choices. Tom's voice grew softer and more fragile. Anna, I can't imagine my life without you. I want us to face life's challenges together and start anew. Can we give it another chance? His voice was laced with sorrow and trembled slightly, yet reflecting on our past made it hard for me to fully believe in his words. Stop it. We're done, aren't we? I've chosen a new path, and I can't turn back, I said firmly. I detected a hint of sadness in his voice. He genuinely seemed to wish for reconciliation. But please let me say one last thing. I truly loved you, Anna. If you ever change your mind, in the past, I might have been tempted by such words, but I've made my decision about the future and our relationship. I refuse to be swayed by his empty promises. Enough already. Words like that won't change my mind. You have another girlfriend now, right? Maybe you should focus on making things right with her. I knew Tom was seeing someone else, thanks to information I got from his boss. With that knowledge, his declarations of "you're special to me" felt utterly hollow. It was clear he'd say anything that suited him in the moment. It's infuriating how he only reaches out when he needs something and turns away when things get tough. He only asks for help when he's in a bind. We can't be together anymore. Focus on spending quality time with her. Forget about me. I won't be reaching out. If there's anything you need, contact my lawyer. Take care of yourself, Anna. Please reconsider. I can't bear the thought of living without you. You're the only one who believes in me. His words seemed sincere, but letting him go might mean his life becomes even harder. That's his choice to make. I have my own life to focus on and move forward with. Tom, I need you to move on and start standing on your own 2 feet. I ended the call and updated my settings to block any further contact from him. My lawyer informed me that Tom was persistently trying to reach me, but my decision was final, so the lawyer honored it and withheld my details. To my surprise, my lawyer suggested pursuing the claim for damages. Initially, I hadn't considered it, but it seemed like a potential way to secure compensation. I knew Tom and his new partner weren't financially stable. There were rumors about Tom's significant debts and his struggle to repay them. After investigating his partner, I discovered she was also facing financial troubles and had fled from them. Her family was outraged and had her working hard at home to make up for her missteps. Every action has its consequences, and it seems they are now facing theirs. I've conquered the battle with cancer and am fully recovered. The extensive treatment I underwent was demanding, but my rapid recovery astonished the doctors. They called it miraculous. With my health restored, I'm finally free to embrace the life I've longed for. I am profoundly grateful for the unwavering support from my friends who have been a pillar of strength throughout this journey. Now, I'm ready to embark on the next chapter. I'm excited for the adventures that await. When I returned to the office, I found a letter on my desk from the thoughtful sales manager. His heartfelt words deeply touched me. As news of my single status spread among my colleagues, some of them kindly offered to set me up with potential matches. However, even my recent past, I'd prefer to savor this time on my own a little longer.